Well, hello. How's everybody doing? It's Friday night, and it's only been 2 years, but it's time for another Ghost Files. Thanks for showing up. I want to thank StreamYard right out of the bat for adding some more cool stuff like this thing, being able to do banners and stuff. But no, it's good to be back. Thanks for hanging out. I'm gonna hang here for a little bit, let people roll in. I think we had about 16 people jumping in. Comments are starting to pop off. Ethan got in here early. Kill Kill Mama, DJ Anderson, Black Music, Slasher Guy 123, Undead One, Alley Girl. Hey, what's up? Casey, good to see you. Oh, Eric's here. What's up, man? Thomas, just doing a quick run through. Wow, look at all the people showing up right away. It's good to have you. How's everybody doing this Friday? I hope everyone had a happy Valentine's Day this week. You did something special with your partner. Me and my lady went out and had a nice brunch and got to spend some time together eating chocolates and watching Tokyo Vice. Highly recommend that show if you are a lover of Japan and crime thriller and cool stuff like that. It's a really cool show. Digging that. But anyway, let's see. I'm going to check on the YouTube. How many people we got going so far? Wow, got about 40 people. That's pretty impressive for not streaming in a few years. But I'll jump into a few updates in here. I'll jump to any questions that you guys will have in the comments. I did put a little bit of thought into this. This is a little bit of an impromptu Ghost Files. I just wanted to, get the rust off, get back out here, start doing some of this stuff again with the channel. Recently, we crossed 77,000 subscribers, which is pretty wild to think about it. I never really focused on subscribers for a long time. It was kind of cool to just see it going up, but getting closer to that 100K mark, which is really cool. Really cool to see people pouring in after Never Hike Alone 2 and stuff like that. So I figured it's about time we start using this channel for something other than releasing a movie every 2 or 3 years. So this seemed like a good, cool thing to do. Let's see, what else are you guys doing in here? Slasher Guy, we'll get to that. So anyway, let's talk about a little bit about the format of this. I do have some pre-planned stuff that I do want to talk about. I'll jump into each thing, go over it, take questions after each little section. And then at the end, we'll just do a general Q&A. So if you guys want to hold on to your questions till then, that's probably the best way to do it. That way we can just jam through some of the updates, let you know what's going on in the world of Womp Stomp Films. And then we can just get to any discussion and jump into any topic that we want every week. But just, every week we want to jump into stuff that I want to update everybody on because I think you might be interested in what we're doing. So speaking of that, let's talk about something pretty obvious. Never Hike Alone 2 updates. What have we been up to with Never Hike Alone 2? Well, let's start with updates for this. Check this out. Pretty cool, huh? Being able to share stuff now, probably always could, but now we can. But let's start here. The Never Hike Alone 2 Indiegogo campaign is going to close on March 31st of this year. Roughly 6 weeks away from now. It's time to get all of your pre-orders in. We just want to let everybody know now. It's been a hell of a campaign. I mean, look at that, $320,000. We're still raising more. You can still get Blu-rays, other things like that. We're going to start slowly reducing the number of perks on the campaign, but it's still up and running. I know people wait till the very last minute. So if you want to Never Hike Alone 2 Blu-ray or anything of that nature, you're definitely going to want to jump in and take care of that now. In other news, Never Hike Alone related, Never Hike Alone 2, which disappeared for a second. Here it is. It reached 3 million views, which is pretty cool. 3 million views in a little over 4 months, which is pretty impressive considering it took, I think, 6 years for Never Hike Alone 1 to reach 4 million. And Never Hike in the Snow actually just crossed 2 million this weekend as well. So this just happened last weekend, Saturday and Monday, respectively. Never Hike Alone 2 crossed 3 million first, which was really rad. The other thing about Never Hike Alone 2 is that we're starting to get subtitles. So far we have the English subtitles done, the French subtitles done. Italian just came in from our friend Ugo Burt over in Italy. Thank you very much, Ugo. And we have Russian, Portuguese, Spanish, and German are all in progress right now. So we are working on some of the subtitles for that. I have to reach out to backers soon and actually start talking about getting some commentary and doing some other things. Another cool thing kind of happened. we're still working on Never Hike Alone 2 as far as getting everyone's final credits into the film and doing the fixes. So we just want to hold that all to the end, go through the process of making the Blu-ray, and then kind of do one thing. We have been going through the process of doing the behind the scenes. I still owe my behind the scenes interview, but we have captured over half of them. So we're working on that as well. So we're hoping to get that done by the middle of this month, or the middle of March, actually, and have everything ready by April. But in the meantime, we are able to work on some of the old stuff. So let's look at some cool things. VHS tapes are in. So here's the Never Hike Alone 1 VHS tape that's coming in from Tapeworm Films, our good friend Carl. There you go. For those of you who got the VHS, got some really cool stuff there. We also have Never Hike in the Snow has come in. You might want to spin that, right? Get these out so you can kind of see the labels that they've done on those, which are really rad. Carl did a great job on all of these, so you get the front and the back. We also have some of our ghost cuts came in as well. So the ghost cut, you're probably familiar with that sort of poster that we use for that. There. But the creme de la creme that came in, for those of you who got a limited edition Never Hike Alone Adam Michaels cover art for Never Hike Alone 1, these came out amazing. So they come in a rental slipcase. So there were only 13 of these that were available. So only 13 people got these, but they come in this cool, like, protective rental case. But the best part, you're just going to give me a second to get this open. It's challenged because, of course, here we go. The cool part is red tape. So these came out really, really great. Again, Adam Michaels with the beautiful art, the same artwork that was on the vinyl soundtrack that came out, which completely sold out, which ended up in Mondo, which was really rad. So things are happening. You know what I mean? It's just one little thing at a time with Never Hike Alone. We're entering it into film festivals. We're trying to get screenings around the country, so we'll be updating people about that. We actually just got notice about one of them pretty recently, which we'll announce when they give us the ability to do that. So hopefully we'll be able to come out and see you sometime this summer, spring, or fall. So there's that. So then, like I said, Never Hike Alone 2, you can get your pre-orders done in the next, by March 31st. Make sure you get any credit changes or fixes that you need done by March 31st. Those address changes, let's get those in. As soon as we get all that, we'll start the shipping process, or we just got to finish up the Blu-ray, then we'll start the shipping process and start getting stuff to everybody. So what goes on from there? What happens next? Well, a lot of people have asked about the Never Hike Alone Master Cut. Well, it is definitely on our radar. It's something that we're going to think about launching this summer. We have some big changes coming to Womp Stomp Films, the way we do crowdfunding, some of those things. We want to raise money this summer to do a master cut of Never Hike Alone 1. All of our projects cut into one master Blu-ray, one master presentation, and a part of that is Ghost in the Fog. We do want to finish that. We weren't able to finish that with the Never Hike Alone 2 campaign. And since we're only doing post-production features on this Never Hike Alone 2 disc, we figured let's shoot for the moon and try to raise enough to do Ghost in the Fog as well, so we can add that to the Blu-ray fully animated for that. We're working out the details of that. We'll probably launch sometime this summer, and we'll have a bunch of stuff that we'll be going over with there. And we'll be reaching out to you. I mean, part of doing this, Ghost Files Live every week, we'll be able to toss out suggestions about what you want to see on that final Blu-ray. What are the things you want to see captured on there? And hopefully just, one last big crowdfunding push to do some really cool post-production on the film, maybe push some things that we weren't able to do in previous passes of post-production. Granted, our post-production team was put through, one hell of a post-production thing. So we want to give them a chance to go out and maybe do some extra stuff, give Ryan some extra chance to do some, maybe go out get some extra instruments for the symphony and things like that for the score, but all that. But that's really, coming down the pike. I know a lot of people ask about it, and that's all great. But let's talk about some of the other things you guys might be thinking about, which is original projects. Original projects are coming. I've been attached to direct some really cool stuff that I'm working on behind the scenes right now. I can't talk about it, but I am working on pitch decks and other pieces of production information for not only my productions but productions for people around the country, some friends that and other teams that I've worked with in the past. I want you to keep an eye out for updates from projects that are going to be happening, from short films to animated films to some feature films that we're going to be pitching for. Again, we'll be coming back to the crowdfunding space to make those things happen. But if we're growing this channel and we're building enough of a fan base, we think that we can be your direct streaming service for a bunch of content over a year and empower people around the country who will be working through with us to not only run their campaigns, but also run their productions and create content year round. Create more content here with Womp Stomp Films and just get creators out there making stuff and us controlling it through the channel, which I think would be really, really cool. And speaking of one of those projects, as an example, let's talk about a little project called Bath Bomb. Now, I know I haven't talked about this in a while. We haven't posted about it very recently on any of the social media. I've been taking a break from it in general anyway, but Bath Bomb, things have been going great. Bath Bomb finished shooting last year, sometime last fall. I believe they finished post-production either late last fall or early this spring, and things are looking great. And I have some stuff that I'm going to show to you. So let me share some stuff with you. So let's check this out. Oops, wrong thing. So recently I got an update from director Colin Cooper about some really great stuff. So Bath Bomb has a new logo. Bath Bomb has a new poster, which is very sexy and very cool looking. Here's Colin Ronnie, who's the EP who we worked with on this. I help, if you remember, I helped with the crowdfunding campaign. It was recently accepted by the Screamfest Horror Film Festival, which is a huge film festival held in Los Angeles every single year. Tom Savini actually Rick Baker designed all of the trophies for it, which is really rad. This is one of the longest standing genre festivals in the country, and to get such an early admission into it is actually a really good sign. So congratulations to Colin and the rest of his team. Here's a first look at some of the images that have come through. These are actual shots from the film, all color corrected. And you can check them out at Bath Bomb website, which is actually in the description of this video. So I definitely implore you to go over there and check out what's going on. There was actually featured in Movie Maker magazine, a whole spread on Bath Bomb and Colin and all that stuff. So that was really cool to see that. I'm very proud of the team who put that together. I've been rooting them for a long time. So definitely check out their website. They have an official trailer, which is really cool. You can check out. The link in the description will take you right to it. So definitely support that. The campaign for that is technically still open, and we are trying to push anybody who wants a vinyl for the soundtrack, which is going to be amazing. And you definitely want to check that out. So definitely check over to the Indiegogo, check out the Bath Bomb page, and definitely want to check out more Bath Bomb in your life. So you can just see what we're up to in the original space. And we'll be running similar campaigns for projects like that over the coming year with all of our friends and that. Another cool announcement is I've actually become a board member for the New Bedford Film Festival, which will be taking place this April 18th through the 21st in New Bedford, Massachusetts, which is where I'm from, or the general area in which I'm from. We're very proud to bring the film community here to the New Bedford, South Coast, Massachusetts area. As you all know, the last 2 years I've been in the process of moving home, and I finally have done it. And I'm here. I'm in Massachusetts. It's good to be home after 2 years on the road. And I'm helping grow the community here in Southern New England so we can continue to get some really great projects. For those familiar with The Holdovers, that was shot a town over in Fairhaven, Massachusetts. There was a film called The Finest Kind that released on Paramount Plus this year that was shot in New Bedford, Massachusetts. Madame Web, which is blowing up the box office, was at least shot in Boston. Hocus Pocus 2 was shot out in Rhode Island. There's some stuff actually filming this summer that I'm hoping to work on, and looking forward to getting to the more industry stuff out here. But in the meantime, we're growing local filmmakers, and we want people from all around the country, my friends who I've met at different film festivals from, all over the place. We're imploring you to go ahead and submit your films for the festival, come out for the inaugural year. Here's a little look at the website. Bold and diverse cinematic stories and storytellers from the Whaling City. That's actually the nickname for New Bedford, the Whaling City, because it used to be the whaling capital of the world. Herman Melville started Moby Dick in New Bedford. That's actually where the book begins, which is really rad. So there's a lot of history in New Bedford. It's an old colonial town. It has cobblestone streets. We're going to be holding some ceremonies down right in the harbor, and then walking down the street. And we have some screening rooms down the street with films from all over the world. I'm really excited about, the films that we've been doing. I've been watching films for the last couple of weeks. I have about 5 hours of watching ahead of me tomorrow. So entries close, I believe, March 31st. So try to get those in, or no, actually March 31st. I think before that, maybe March 1st. So get those entries in as fast as you can before the deadline hits up. We would love to have you, and I'd love to see some fresh faces and some faces that I know out there on the circuit. So I'm going to pause everything right there. We're going to hop into the comments. That's a basic gist of what we've been up to and some of the highlights. I have some things I want to talk about in a little bit, but I want to see what's up to you. So I'm hopping into the comments. Holy crap. Hey, $20 super chat from Undead. Thank you, great entertainment. Vince, no, Undead, thank you for supporting the channel. I see Robert the Wolfman out there, a good friend of mine from Dylan's New Nightmare. Do you think there'll ever be a novelization for Never Hike Alone, like a PDF? Yeah, maybe. I do have the script in PDF form. I do have Never Hike in the Snow in PDF form, and I do have Never Hike Alone 2 that needs to be updated and adjusted and then put in PDF form. So I could put all 3 scripts together. But I have thought about writing some fan fiction for Friday the 13th in my spare time. I wanted to talk about doing that Ghost of Crystal Lake short film that I wanted to do through the campaign, but didn't really quite make it. I wanted to write that and my Pamela story, which I would do. So I definitely do that. Let's see. Hey, Rick, you bang. That dream sequence between Tommy and Rick blew my mind. Sort of like what happened when Rick blast from that shotgun. Yeah, that was a fun scene. Everybody in Never Hike Alone 2 sort of gets their own dream sequence. Tommy has one, Andrew has one, Rick has one, Anna has one. So the 4 main characters all sort of live through a traumatic experience or have some type of PTSD haunting them, which is in the Never Hike Alone verse, their form of the curse. And that was Rick's. I thought that was going to be pretty fun to what's Rick's worst nightmare? Tommy going nuts and blowing his head off and using his signature line while doing it. So definitely there. So Ethan Parks is asking about any other fan films. Fan films are probably going to be off the table for a little while, aside from, I would say, Ghost in the Fog. So Ghost in the Fog is going to be our next thing to get that done. As far as fan films go, there's a handful that I would do. Like if when Cecil looks at Dylan's new Nightmare 2, I'll look at that. Jason Rising 2 wants to go, I'll look at that. There's some fan films. There's a couple of like Michael Myers things that I would do with the right people. But that's not really my focus right now. We have so many original projects that are sort of lined up. We've talked about EMF. There's another, film that I want to do that I don't know if I can say it yet. I got to officially be able to announce that, but there's a couple of really great scripts that we haven't, we've just been sitting on just because we've been doing the Never Hike stuff and focusing all of our attention there. And now that we can do original stuff, we want to roll out our original slate pretty quickly. Part of it was getting back here to Massachusetts to run those productions. And now that we're back, now we're going to look at when's a good time to raise the funds, when's a good time to shoot it, where we're going to shoot it. We have a lot of work to do there, but I'm glad to be here and start to kind of figure that stuff out. I hope my signal is okay. I mean, for this first one, I'm trying it out in this really kind of isolated space in the house, which might not get the greatest Wi-Fi. Cool. I just got done watching the fan-made Jace movies. Love them. Thank you for watching them. That's really cool. Ethan asks, what was your favorite moment in Never Hike Alone, Never Hike in the Snow, and Never Hike Alone 2? I don't think anything will ever beat the moment of discovering the camp for the first time. I think that was pretty special. The entire journey to our first trip to Telluride was really special as well. And then finishing in Telluride this year was really special. Being back, sort of closing the circle. Never Hike Alone 2 was a really tough production. This film was supposed to be done in 2021, and the world had other plans. and it really sort of became it came as time went on, it became more and more challenging to make. There were more reasons to stop, and I'm glad I didn't, because obviously when you get to stand on the other side of an accomplishment, it feels really, really good. But we're on your way there, and so much time is taking place, and people look at you kind of funny because you're still working on that same thing. But it goes to say, it's like, if you believe in something, don't give up on it, and don't just walk away because it gets hard. Like, if you committed to doing something, do it. And I really wanted to commit to doing it. It was going to be my only chance to do it. Um, so that's why I pushed so hard on getting the Never Hike Alone stuff out over some original projects. So now we're shifting to those original projects because I'm really passionate about those. But who knows where the Friday burst is going to take me. I'd actually like to take some of these original projects and some of my experience with Never Hike Alone, and say, hey, maybe instead of doing a fan film, I could help bring back some official titles and do it on the bigger screens with the bigger budgets. Kind of step in there. That's the direction that I want to take my career eventually, which would be really nice. Exactly, Ethan. Never give up. That'll be the next movie. Never give up, which is a theme for all my characters. So let's see. We're gonna see. Do you ever think you'll make any cons like South Dallas or Little Rock? I would love to do some more cons. I'm not con savvy. I don't know who to contact or where to go for tables or stuff like that. I would say, if anybody wants to see me at a con, contact your local convention, see if they want to bring me out. If you want me to go, let me know about it, and I could see what my schedule is like to see if I can get a table and if it's going to be worth coming down. Or if you're ever at a con and you want to split a booth, Womp Stomp Films comes and really does fill out a table real nice. We got our Blu-rays, we got things that we bring. Obviously love to come and hang out. So if anyone ever wants to split a booth, they have something going, they want to put some Womp Stomp merch on their table, I guarantee that Jason's big mask will draw some people over to your table and some conversations. I've always had really good luck, splitting tables with people. I think that it's a very great mutual benefit there. Them being able to set up the ground forces, and me being able to, hopefully raise the radar of being able to be at a convention and bring some people on over. Thank you, Danny. Will there be information about Bath on Beyond the teaser in the near future? I'm really interested in the project. Yes. Just keep following Colin Cooper, at all his socials, at the Bath Bomb website. What I can say about Bath Bomb is that it's up for some really cool stuff. You're going to hear a lot more about it, maybe in even bigger spaces than just me talking about it on this channel. You may come across it on some really legitimate news sources. It may do some really good, cool things. Like I said, they did a fantastic job with the project. I've seen it. I'm a producer. I get to watch it, but I'm really excited when everybody gets to see it. I think it's going to be great at the festival shorts. I hope it gets into some good midnight screenings. Overall, just excited to be a part of the project. Just keep following them, and I'm sure the updates will come, but it's going to be a little bit. That project is at a level where it's going to be hitting a festival circuit. It has to remain hidden until it goes through all the circuits. Maybe it finds a home somewhere streaming on one of these channels, but eventually you're going to see it. And if you're a backer, if you go get the vinyl, or if you go get the digital reward, which I think is still up, that's going to be the quickest and easiest way to know what is going on, because Colin will update you as you go. Looking forward to the commentary on the Blu-ray. Yes, I'm looking forward to that too. I'll be setting that up soon. So we just got to figure out a day to do it. Obviously, it's February 16th. We're not going to be submitting things till the end of March. So in the next 6 weeks, we'll try to get something going out. Is the prequel still happening, even if not now, but eventually? And what was the ideas do you have for it? So the prequel is not going to be shot anytime soon. It would take an enormous amount of money to make that movie, way more than I originally anticipated. The production of it was going to be crazy. I was actually going to write it out as a novel, because I think I could just go more in depth and do more justice doing that way, and really kind of dive into some stuff and explore the world of Friday. It's just a matter of the time and energy. You know what I mean? I'm writing a script right now. I'm doing pitch decks for another script. I'm, overseeing a few other things. So I think it's time for me to take a break from Friday. But there's two stories that are burning a hole in me. That one has to do with that prequel, which is about how Jason got back from Manhattan. But it's more than just, oh, Jason's walking through the woods all the way back to Manhattan, and what's this Hobbit, or even the Trees Walk movie type thing. There's an interwoven story with a sort of a down and out not Vietnam veteran, it might be too late for that, but a war veteran who's, living on the road similar to John Rambo, who ends up living in Crystal Lake, and him and Jason cross paths, and it takes Friday the 13th to a more supernatural place than it ever really has before. Jason's not in his typical form because he's so down and beaten from the events of part 8 that he's not really quite 100% yet. So other supernatural forces take place. And the other one is the Pamela story, which is focused all on Pamela's sort of descent into madness. It's a short, film. I could make it longer if I wanted to, especially if I went into script, but it'll be interesting to sort of explore after the Crystal Lake series comes out, because I wonder what they're going to do with it, and I'm really excited about that. So I'm really just kind of holding off for now, because we've been creating Friday the 13th content since 2000 and even 15 now, just creating stuff, since 17 to really, 16 making Never Hike, 15 doing the pre-production, and just releasing it last year. Crystal Lake's coming out at some point, so it's about time for them to start creating some stuff, and some people are reacting to it, and I'm going to be reacting to it here. Each week after each episode, I'm going to hop on and we're going to talk Friday the 13th and where it's going. I have some really cool things that I could share about the show eventually, that I can talk about, but it's just, I'm really excited for it. I'm hearing really, really good things. I'm really encouraged. So I don't know. I think for now, I'm going to take a back seat to Friday. I'm going to let the the studios step back in and finally do what they should have done 15 years ago, which was keep it going. Did Jason die at the end of Never Hike Alone 2? No, because Jason can never die. That is the curse. I wish that there was a way to kill Jason so he could rest. But what I will say is Jason is at rest at the end of the movie, and that bubble is him sort of letting out that last breath, that last clenched jaw that finally let go to let him just sort of like let himself sink back into the lake. Unfortunately, Jason can't die. He can't pass on. It's part of the curse. He can't really be released, but he sort of finds peace at the end of Never Hike Alone 2. All that rage, everything that he's fighting for, he's been fighting to protect that head. And then after it's destroyed, spoiler alert, he sort of realizes that like his mother spirit's always going to be there. He doesn't have to keep doing this. He can just rest and just let it be. And that's where he's going for now. Until something disturbs him later on in the world and we leave the door open. Obviously, I've said it a million times. That you have to leave the door open for Friday the 13th. To try and completely close the door is a mistake, because then you just leave some other filmmaker with some impossible task to try and pick up where you left off if they want to carry on that story, which is very much in the realm of what Friday the 13th does. Even if I wanted to pick up, because I could continue writing novelizations about where it goes from here, I just got to put that energy towards other things. Gap. Hey, listen, I need to go back and look. I just haven't seen your questions. I'm sorry. Let me see. I'm going to go try and find a Gap question because I'm just missing them. What's the most challenging thing as a producer? Oh, here we go. Most challenging thing as a producer is scheduling. You have to get a bunch of people in the same place at the same time, and a lot of things have to happen for that to happen. So I would say that is the hardest thing about producing. The easiest thing about producing is sort of once you start to get to know enough people, when you can really build it out to know who your teams are. Like everyone's a really quick call away, or if someone's not available, they can put you in touch with an endless amount of people to sort of get there. It's just getting everybody in the same spot, keeping the communication, and just keeping everybody focused on what needs to go forward. Answering a lot of questions. There's a lot of problem solving, producing. So there's a lot of stuff there, but I would say the hardest part is the scheduling. Budget is all sort of predictory, and you can kind of punch everything in there, but you have to agree to get everybody in the same spot for multiple days at a time. And with everybody's crazy schedules, that can often be very, very hard to do. So yeah, if people want me to come out, definitely do that. Just a reminder, I'm going to miss questions along the way. So just please, 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 if I haven't answered your question yet, just go ahead and keep posting it until I get to it. Just look. What made me want to make Never Hike Alone? Actually, I'll tell you what made me want to make Never Hike Alone. Happy 15th birthday to Friday the 13th, 2009. 2009 made me want to make Never Hike Alone because 2009 disappointed me so much as a fan that I just felt that it was so close to what I wanted out of a Friday the 13th, but it sort of fell back too much on the things that about Friday the 13th that I don't love, and really put a magnifying glass on the things that are sort of embarrassing about the franchise. Like when I was a kid and they used to do overt sexual stuff, like I was embarrassed because if my parents came in, I got in trouble. And so I just associated that stuff with like, we don't need that in the movie. I just want to see the part where Jason comes out and starts scaring the crap out of me. Um, and that's what I wanted. I wanted a film that did that. I felt that it fell short in those categories, but really went over the top about going over some things that we really didn't ask. And so, out of that, instead of asking the studios to create something for me that I wanted, to demand that they made it the way I wanted to make it, I realized that if I wanted to see it the way I wanted to see it, I had to make it myself. Especially after, at that time, about 6 or 7 years of no films. Between 2008 and 2018, Paramount was given a 10-year window to make movies. There was a deal for Warner Brothers, and Interstellar got swapped between the two studios, and Friday the 13th went over in that trade for 10 years to go to Platinum Dunes because Michael Bay and those guys wanted it. Um, they had a 10-year window to make as many movies as they wanted, and they only made that one. And they didn't make a bunch that went in between. I think you've all heard about David Bruckner's film and the Aaron Guzanowski film, and the found footage version and the 3D version and the other versions, and the Shannon and Swift version that never got made that had a little bit of snow in it as well. Um, it was just years of letdown that led to me to make Never Hike Alone. I just wanted to see something, and not only did I want to see something, I wanted to see something better than what I had seen before, and not to think that I could do it with like the rudimentary tools that we had at first, but we at least wanted to just show that it didn't take a lot of budget to just make good decisions about the costume, about the location, about the way that the story is portrayed, and where you can find your camp, and where you can just let things go, and that the movie moves seamlessly. I mean, Never Hike Alone moves seamlessly without having to go to a sex scene or have to go some gratuitous violence or drug use. In fact, we had a scene where Kyle was supposed to use drugs. We put it in the movie, and it dragged the whole thing down, and we took it out. He was supposed to smoke weed before he crossed the no trespassing sign, as sort of like a gateway that opened it up in a way. But it was too wild and too crazy. Like when it grounded, it just became a better movie. And I think that's the Friday I always wanted to see. So happy birthday, Friday the 13th, 2009. You sparked my joy enough to go make Never Hike Alone. Let's see, back to the comments. You got to give me a chance to catch up. I know a producer who produced 13 seasons of Stargate who wants to do a horror movie. That's really cool. Well, if he wants to do a horror movie, he should give me a call, or she should give me a call, whoever. I would love to make some stuff. I'm actually looking for people who want to partner up, who want to get teams together. So if they like horror films and they like our stuff, tell them to check us out. What made you think of Ghost Jason? It wasn't Ghost Jason at first. That I have to give credit to Joe Gallo and Brandon Scott Murphy for coming together and helping that name get created. The look for him just came from the idea that after part 8, Jason would have had to rebuild his costume from scratch, the mask, the costume, all of that stuff. That Ghost of Crystal Lake short film that I've been telling you about, that prequel, that's actually where he becomes Ghost Jason. That's where he gets his costume. That's where he finds the mask. These are all things that he finds within the camp. And I wanted to redesign Jason from the ground up based on what I saw in 2009, based on what I saw in Freddy vs. Jason and Jason X, with them trying to do things with a jacket that didn't really ever quite fit in my opinion. So I just tried to do something in my own cosplay to create something new, not to do the old, I could either go back to that Brooker Ted White look. I could go to a CJ Graham look. I could, I could put the gloves on. I could do the part 7, part 8. They all had very unique looks, but I wanted to do something different. I wanted to do something new. So it was really just sort of like that experimenting of seeing like, how would I recreate Jason for a modern era? That's where that Jason came from. Along the way, the Ghost Hawk, that's where it got the name from. So we were trying to come up with a name for it for the campaign. Brandon came up with a Ghost Hawk, and then Joe Gallo famously said, well, does that make him Ghost Jason? And ever since then, it's been Ghost everything. I mean, we're on Ghost Files Live now because of it. So that's really where it came from, was just like, it was a collaborative effort. It was just the natural progression of the the sort of design that I had going in my head that was very rooted in the early films with a little bit of growth of the modern, with the jacket style, kind of weaving those two worlds together. And I think we found a good middle ground. What made me decide to remove part nine off the timeline's canon? Because I saw part nine and I said no. From a very early on, I was like, this is not the ending I want. I want the ending that I want to see to Friday the 13th, and this is not it. Um, I felt like New Line sort of took it in its own direction. It didn't feel like it had any of the original spirit. It had a little bit of it at the beginning, but it just loses it as it goes. I'm very friendly with Adam Marcus. I've heard the stories about how the film got made. So it's very interesting. To me, looking back on it now. But I remember as a kid, very early, just like basically discounting everything New Line did. Like, yeah, they were fun one-off movies, but it wasn't Friday the 13th to me. It was something different. It was something had changed. Something was off. It's like when you can tell something's off in your drink, you're in your favorite thing, like, they didn't use the right milk. This is almond milk. It's not oat milk or whatever the heck your thing is. That's what New Line, films are to me as far as the Friday the 13th franchise. Now I love Jason X. Freddy versus Jason has decent parts. I've learned to like Jason Goes to Hell for its own thing, but I wanted something that felt like it really came out of the Paramount era, and I wanted to continue that. And that's where, the idea for Never Hike Alone came from. That's where the idea for that Ghost of Crystal Lake came from. I felt like that was the way to bridge the gap. So hopefully I'll be able to tell that story one day. And I may just like pitch it here. And I have done that in the past. I may just do like campfire tales. You know what I mean? Like I'll just pitch you guys the whole story and just walk you through it. Maybe I can get some friends to draw me up some photos and I can put them up and we can just talk about what happens with the characters. And it might be just the way to do it. You know what I mean? These were born out of campfire tales. So why not do that since they're very cheap? I can just develop them. I'll come up with a pitch and I'll just perform them for you guys, which I think would be pretty rad. Oh God, Joe Gallo's here. Probably heard me call his name and he came wandering in. They were trying to market Jason like Freddy is what New Line was trying to do. That's true. I mean, they were putting Jason in front of everything. Jason Goes to Hell, Jason X, Freddy versus Jason. Definitely, I don't feel bad. Part 9 was a tragedy. I agree. Here we go. Any advice for filmmakers? You're one of the main reasons I personally got into it. Well, Wyatt, that's really cool to hear. I'm glad that you are in this filmmaking world. I would just say take your time. Take your time. Don't rush. Don't be too hard on yourself. Everything is an experiment, especially when you're first getting started out. You're experimenting. You can read about all of the theory of film that you want, but until you put it into practice, until you start seeing the times on set where you sort of say, we'll figure it out. Oh, this should work. And you start to bite your ass and editorial, that's where you're really going to learn. So I would just say before you really want to dive out and like jump into a project, I think you got to pick something that is a throwaway idea to just mess around with and just have fun and point the camera at things, try to cut dialogue together, try to come up with different scenes to do different things and push yourself and then see where those mistakes come from, learn from that and take it to the next project. If you do that, you're going to find success. And eventually, it's just going to take some years of making bad films and sort of bad decisions and seeing that like, oh, wow, it really is worth it to put the money in for a sound person over getting the best, most expensive lens that you can get. That maybe the microphone is a little bit more expensive than the lens at first. But all of those things come. And as you meet more people, you'll see it come together. You just got to give it enough time and definitely participate in 48-hour film festivals to meet people. Hey, man, big fan of Never Hike Alone 2. Love Tom Matthews as Tommy. Would you ever do Never Hike Alone 3 and 4? Because I saw on Google about Never Hike Alone 3 and 4 when you did the live stream with Tom. So let me clear this air. Never Hike Alone 3 and 4 are actually in Never Hike Alone 2. Never Hike Alone used to be a series idea. This was back before COVID. I thought that the best way to crowdfund this series was going to be about $50,000 to $75,000 at a time. And the idea was to break it up into 4 parts. We added the Never Hike in the Snow bit as a prequel. And then there's going to be Never Hike Again, which was basically a Never Hike Alone 2, the opening scene of him on the dock all the way through them taking off in the ambulance. Then there was Jason Takes Crystal Lake, which there was a scene we had to cut out where there was a whole house party massacre scene. And then basically everything that happens at the hospital. And then there was the final hike. There used to be a scene that took place in the sheriff's station where Jason came to the sheriff's station, but we had to cut that out. We never got to film that. And there was a big showdown that happened there, and then it went to the camp. And so it used to be split up into much bigger sections that had different things. And then after so much time passages, I sort of just shrunk everything down into one script again. In fact, Never Hike Alone 2 started as one script. It got taken apart, broken into 4 parts, rewritten in 4 pieces, then put those 4 pieces back together in the new form. But it was always based off of one script, which one of these days I will just pitch the original version of Never Hike Alone 2, because I realized we had to cut so many cool things out and I never really got to talk about them. So we'll talk about some of those things on a future. I promise on a future one, we will jump into it. I will pitch out full scenes. Maybe I'll just do like, like that campfire tale. I will pitch you through the entire version of Never Hike Alone 2 that was actually based around a Tommy and Jennifer Cook Megan story. I originally wanted to get Megan Cook to come back. Vinny was always a part of it. There used to be no Snow prequel. The Snow prequel used to be completely different. It was going to be like a one-off thing, and it was going to be 5 minutes long, and it was just going to be the dude getting dragged off into the woods. Like, that's all it was going to be. And it morphed out when we knew that we couldn't get Jennifer Cook. And that's when the whole story started to shift. And that's when we started doing all the episode ideas. So there's no Never Hike Alone 3 and 4 coming. Those were just supposed to be parts of the episodes. I wish somebody would just take them off Google. I don't know how to do it myself. Maybe one of these days we'll figure it out. But yeah, it confuses a lot of people. Everyone's expecting Never Hike Alone 3. I know everyone's confused about the Hikerman 5000 thing. I will say this: if I did Hikerman 5000, we have something on the YouTube page called, I believe, the Lost Tapes, I think it's the Lost Tapes. It would sort of be what the Lost Tapes became. A little bit more focused, a little bit more story driven. You would have learned about those other YouTubers that are with him and all of those things. And that's basically what would have happened. But Hikerman 5000 would basically accidentally resurrect Ghost Jason and bring him back for one last hurrah, chasing YouTubers around the camp, which would be a lot of fun. That'd probably be the only thing else I would do. And it would be all like sort of the way they did it with that one, or mostly found footage. But I don't think we're going to do that for a very, very long time. Let's see. Megan Cook. Yeah, Megan Cook. Megan! No, Jennifer Cook. My bad. Let me see. I agree. 13 Gallows Lane NHA was a masterpiece. We have to make our 2009 film there, Jordan Harvey, because I'm going to break your legs in it. Jordan Harvey, him and I, we have a rivalry going for who's the best cosplayer of Jason. We threaten each other all the time. It's good. It's all good. Never Hike Alone 2 was a masterpiece. Vin, just letting you know that. Thank you, Joe. Thank you. A bit of Friday the 13th fans at the beginning of it, but anyway, I'm happy to see you guys collaborate on the new modded game called, so Friday the 13th, the complete edition. Yeah. I don't even know what's going on with this, honestly. Like, I just know some people are working on a Friday the 13th modded edition. They put Ghost Jason in it. I don't know how you play it. I don't know how you get access to it, but they post stuff on YouTube. Definitely check that out. They've done some Ghost Jason stuff. It's really cool. I will be making original films next. Thank you for hanging in there with me. You just got to keep pestering me. Nick, whoa, what's whoa? Well, your brilliant director is a franchise, best movie in the franchise, Never Hike Alone. And then, yeah, I'm not going to name the last one. Well, Jacko, good. I'm glad that you're out there working on your own stuff. That sounds good. It sounds like you had to cut a lot of things out. Have you ever thought about combining those things that were cut out of previous project, making them a new project? They're very focused on what would have been in Never Hike, maybe the house party massacre scene and something. The other thing was, they're little scenes that live in my head. And they somewhat got done in, Never Hike Alone 2. Like, originally Rick never really fought Jason. In the original version of Never Hike, Rick lived. There was a moment where he locked himself back in a jail cell to keep Jason from getting from him. And when Jason was trying to pull the bars off like the whole wall, that's when Rick shot him in the head and did the whole ya bang thing and like blew his head back. And then Jason like looked forward at him again and then started to rip the bars off. And then something else happens. And there's other stuff. I'll get into that pitch another day. But anyway, there's a lot of stuff like that. Like you had to take the idea and just sort of get from A to B with what is continuing the story and what is just pure entertainment value. And Never Hike Alone 2 really is like getting story A to B to A to B to A to B, continuing things we did in all the films and bringing them together while trying to be as entertaining as possible while doing it. There were definitely a lot of extra ideas, extra kills I would have loved to have done. But we had to fit it into that budget. We had to fit it into that schedule. I mean, again, producing and scheduling, it's like you can get all those things and ideas, but can those ideas all get there on the same day? So doing that. I've heard of Eden Lake, but I have to watch it. Let me see, Vince. What movies do you plan on making in the future? I will talk about those in a little bit. You're not allowed to make money with fan films, and we haven't. I mean, everything has gone into the production of the films. I don't take a payment for the films. I just pay people to work on them. I have to go get contractors to build things and make things and show up and feed us and do all those stuff. So the fans just, they fund a production. They fund a production to get us out there and do that. And there's a handful of us that work for no money, and then there's a bunch of other people out there that we hire to come out and do very important jobs, and we pay them for it. I wish, Casey, I wish. I'll tell you what, a good friend of mine, Cody Wilkins, he has a 3D printing department. He's going to be working on some figures. They're going to be small. They're going to be kind of very simple at first, but we're thinking about it. He's a 3D printing genius. We may do those in like small batches. I have some other, we have some other batches of stuff to go in there. I'm just trying to keep up on questions. My bad. Let me see. Suggestions on making advertising fan films. We've done some great Halloween fan films that have performed great and been to make hospital sets. But you just gotta keep pushing. Honestly, like the work speaks for itself. If you release clips and things like that that just resonate with people, then that's really what does it. You just have to create imagery that works. And as soon as you get that, I mean, Halloween is a very saturated market. There's a lot of confusion. I get very confused on who's like Halloween fan film is whose, because a lot of them have similar names, have similar looks. And they're just, it's so like Halloween fan films are no offense to anybody who's made a Halloween fan film, but they're easier to make because Michael's costume is easy to make and you're just in a neighborhood. So your costumes and sets and things are very easy to recreate. So there's a lot of those things happening versus trying to find a camp and get a good Jason costume and making that look good. It's a little bit more challenging, and even more challenging than that is doing, Freddy. So Nightmare on Elm Street's like almost impossible to do. So I think in a Halloween space, if I was going to give advice to anybody doing a fan film, my advice is don't do Friday the 13th anymore, and don't do Halloween, because they're so saturated that you're not going to stand out. I want to see Texas Chainsaw. Scream is another one that's oversaturated because it's such an easy one to redo. So when you're in a place that's like oversaturated, your work has to be either upper echelon level, like good. The production value has to be so like, wait, is this real or not? And if it's not, it's going to fall into the sea of everything else. But if you can get something that is cinematic and is not if you can do a Critters fan film, holy crap, like that'd be great. If you could do Texas Chainsaw Massacre, if you could do something that is in that realm that's different, that it, like separates you and you can be one of the first ones, that's how you're going to make a mark. With Friday the 13th, there were ones that came before us, but nobody had done it at our production level before, and we set a new bar. So that's why you saw us leapfrog so high, and be able to contain that, because our production value has gone up even as other fan films have come out and either sort of come close in production value and all of those things. It's really about getting out first and a thing. But now that like there is probably a level of Friday the 13th fan film that you can say that like is the medium production value, and a lot of those things fall into that category. And it's tough for them to really, really stand out. You really have to make a mark, or you have to have some kind of special surprise, like a cameo or something like that. So, or you have to have some crazy, crazy kill that just looks really real. So definitely one of those things. Jason X fan film, I would love to do that, Joe. Comics, I've talked about it with some people. It opens up the door for lawsuits, because a good friend of mine who was doing Jason Rises, I believe, got sued, got cease and desist, told to stop. So so that's a space I really got to kind of be careful with. But I would like to actually sell the rights at some point to get official Ghost Jason stuff made. I think that they should do comics of it. I think it only makes sense. The Crazies would be a good fan film. Hey, that's something you can mass produce in another town. You know what I mean? It's something that can be followed. It's something that's it's interesting, and it's something that has a good fan base. So I would definitely say Crazy is a good place to start. Uh, really want to see you work in Hollywood approached you for any kind of idea. Would you accept it, or would you continue to work off the beaten trail, so to speak? If someone came with a check and said we wanted you to work on this movie, I would take it seriously. But there are lots of, different properties I would love to work for. I would love to work for the Godzilla Monsterverse properties. I would love to work for Predator. I would love to work for, do a Rambo film. I'm a big fan of franchises. Franchises are the McDonald's of the movie theater, and they're what keep the industry running. They're the things that put people in the theater seats. Of course, I want to make stuff that's thought provoking and stuff like that, but I also want to work on big film stuff too. I want to make big movies with big action sequences, and do things that like really, wow people, but tell good stories at the same time. I think that there's a good blend and a way to do it. It's one of the things I'm training and working towards too in my career. Hopefully you guys can come along with the ride for me here through this channel. But yeah, definitely. I would like to see a Predator fan film. I would like to just do a Predator film, but Predator fan film we've definitely talked about. When are the Never Hike Alone Blu-rays being released to Indiegogo backers? It will be this spring. I said earlier in here, but we're working on stuff to get everything finalized. We'll be reaching out with you guys on that stuff pretty soon. Have you got any job offers from Hollywood studios? I have my name in for a few things right now. It's a long process. I mean, it's not really like Hollywood studios. Oh, whoops, not that one. Um, it's not like Hollywood studios just come knocking and say, hey, here's a project. There's lots of steps that you have to go through. And I'm just going through the paces of it. I'm putting together pitch decks, putting together pitches, doing the rounds, those kinds of things. I have been able to pitch to people. I've pitched to some of the biggest companies. I've been inside some really cool places. So I have had some opportunities, but I also have opportunities to work on some films too. Like there's some stuff coming up this spring where I can work in the AD department, things like that. So the different opportunities there. But my next goal with my management company is that we're supposed to try and get something financed to make something for the independent market that we could sell to larger festivals and kind of go from there. So there's a track that I'm on. It's just going to take a little bit to kind of get there. We wouldn't be able to shoot it till next year anyway. So using this year to get ready for that, do as much work on set as possible, because in between my projects, I like to get as much work on big sets as possible so I can just keep myself sharp and fresh. I just keep that sort of set mentality. Helping other people get their projects done helps me when I'm in a position to work on a project where I'm suddenly, able to, I've just been out there. I can fix things myself. I'm not relying on everybody else to do stuff for me. But at the same time, I can be a good leader because I know and I have that sense. So I'm hoping to get a bunch of those projects under my belt this year again, and then go out next year and make my first original feature, which I'll talk more about once I have the permission to, but I have to finish some stuff with that. The animated short, yes, we're going to work on that when we do the master cut Blu-ray. Eventually, that will be a part of this summer's campaign that we're going to run. It's going to be for a master cut of all the Never Hike Alone stuff. There has been a My Bloody Valentine fan film. I think it was called, what was it called? I can't remember. I just remember that it was made. It's out there. Look for it. Valentine Bluffs. That's what it was. Let me see. What are we going? Whenever you attend another event, will you bring Ghost Jason costume photo op, or are you hanging up the costume for a while? No, in fact, I'm getting a new mask made. So I'm getting some new stuff done for the costume. I have some new Ghost Jason cosplay. Well, actually, not just Ghost Jason cosplay. I have a new Jason that I'm building. In my time, I came up with another idea for like another evolved version of Ghost Jason. That's sort of like in another direction that I just wanted to experiment with. So I'm going to be working on multiple costumes. I'm probably going to be going back to a lot of cosplay stuff for this summer. And then since I'm going to be close to the Gallows team, I'm thinking about taking some trips up to New York in my new costumes with the Ghost Jason stuff and taking some official photos with them. I'm sure we can have a lot of fun and really make them. If you hadn't made NHA, what other character would you have made films about? Godzilla. If I had the money to build a costume, that would be amazing. Let me see. I'm just flipping through some stuff here. You guys are really sweet about these things. Let me see. I think there was a couple of Jordan, thanks for the super chat, by the way. That's really cool of you. I really appreciate it. Um, I need to get one of those like buttons like let me see. All right, if you guys got any more questions, throw them down the bottom. Oh, here we go. Yana, hey, what's up? Yana's actually working on our Spanish on our Russian subtitles. Have you ever thought about Jason's childhood memories? If you still remember something about being alive, good times like celebrating holidays with mom back in the 50s, example. Oh, totally. The Disappear music video, if I could do flashbacks to him and Pamela, they would definitely be worked into that video because that's definitely what that's about. And that's part of what the Pamela short story that I want to write is about as well, is, you know, their history, what happened to them growing up, kind of that stuff as well. Would I ever consider doing a My Bloody Valentine fan film myself? Probably not. You know, just not my cup of tea. I really believe that if you're going to make a fan film, like, or you're going to do anything, you really need to love it. You know what I mean? So I would never do anything that I don't love or that I don't think that I could like really come up with a great idea for. And, you know, I think that Valentine's Bluff probably did just as good a job as any My Bloody Valentine 3D, My Bloody Valentine. Between those three projects, I'm sure that you've said all you could probably say about Bloody Valentine. Oh, Jordan, you're gonna go break your legs. I would love to see a Friday the 13th movie where Tommy meets Tina. Would that movie ever happen? Can I tell you my idea? Well, you don't really have to tell me your idea. I think if you want to see that idea, you should just make it happen yourself or just write fan fiction for it. I think that's probably the best avenue and outlet. You know, fans can dream anything, and cross promotions in any way, shape, or form are going to be what they are. Friday the 13th means a lot of different things to different people. So I would say if you have a Friday the 13th idea that you want to follow through on, that you should just write it and share it with, there's forums. You can share it on Reddit, I'm sure. I'm sure you can do, or probably program it into AI and get a whole video for it now. You never know. But you never have to, don't worry about it. I barely write English well, and I've been speaking it for 40 years, or not 40 years, but 30 something years. So don't worry about it. If you ever need to type something else again, stuff like that, just go ahead and jump in it. I saw the Easter eggs in the film saying Roy Byrne cursed. It gives me memories of it. Yeah, definitely. We definitely play with the fact that Roy Burns was cursed. Our Halloween versus Friday the 13th would be a very short fan film with Jason winning. We may do that one day. I might just make that happen. It might be a lot of fun. Let me see. I think that's pretty much rounding it out for questions. Any last questions? I think I'm gonna, I think an hour is pretty good for today. Like I said, we're keeping this really light at first. Eventually, I'd like to get in here and do some more decorating and kind of do something. But this feels like a pretty nice setup. I think my broadcast has been pretty decent. It looks, okay, I think. I'm just keeping an eye on it. Hold on, I'm doing a quick test. You guys are like my testing audience here. Man, you're really good to do. Yeah, okay. Yeah. The stream looks all right. This isn't too shabby. I like it. Okay. We're going to pause that. So that's there. Great. So yeah, let's see. Let's see Ghost Jason versus Michael. All right. Well, I'll tell you what, maybe I can work on that with the Gallows Lane guys. Have you ever created your own original slasher icon? I have a couple ideas. I'm actually working on something right now that's kind of in that territory. Again, I can't really talk about it, but I'm going to say it once. I'm going to say it again. There's only one Jason Voorhees. There's only one Freddy Krueger. There's only one Leatherface, and to come up with, one of those is really sort of like, you got to do something really, really special. And I love Jason. That's the only masked killer I've ever really wanted to work with. I've never really had like, I want to come up with my own mask. Like I wanted to come up with my own version of the hockey mask. And I think that that's really what did it for me. If I ever did like a killer film, it would be more like a giallo. I'd want to do it like a crime thriller. I'd want to do it in a much different way. I wouldn't build a slasher. I wouldn't make Friday the 13th light. I wouldn't do a copy of something else unless I was reinventing it in some way. Um, we're doing something new with it. I just don't want to do the same old stuff that we've seen 1,000 times. I think, you really got to, if you're going to do this, like you can either do what's been done before or you can take it in a new direction. And even though we did Friday the 13th and it's been established, we tried to take it in a new direction and do something fresh with it. And it's the thing I've always wanted to work on. But with original stuff, I just have a different style, I guess. And I'm really looking forward to doing some of these projects and doing the original stuff. I think it'd be a lot of fun. Um, let's see. Thank you. Looks fine. Oh, this ghost poster. Oh, this is actually from the set. This leads us to our Womp Stomp Film sets. Our coast, they used to make code names for the productions back in the day, so we called our production Ghost. And so this was the signs that led everybody to set. And I just hung one up in here. But hey, I can totally probably print some more of these up if you want me to put them on the next thing. Let me see. Since you worked on Jason, you have thrills about Godzilla. Have you ever thought about crossing him over? I mean, God, that would be stupid. I don't know how you do that film, Godzilla versus Jason. I mean, Jason would have to be like blown up, sort of the way they were always going to do the Frankenstein movies in a way, and then maybe you get a movie out of it. I was going to talk about Godzilla tonight, but I didn't. I don't think I want to jump into that stuff this week. Just get a lot of Godzilla lately, which I love. We did -1, and there was the Legendary show, and that or Legacy of Monsters, the the Monster Verse, and now Godzilla versus Kong is coming out in like 6 weeks. So lots of Godzilla. I think we could probably talk about that here. I think I definitely want to use this space to talk about projects that are coming out, things that are released. I said, we were talking about things about the industry. If you guys have questions, if you guys had questions about, like, say, the strikes, or if you had questions about the industry in general, or what's going on with streaming services, what's going on with Wile E. Coyote and all that stuff. I'm here to talk about that stuff. I'm still tapped in. I still hear what's going on behind the scenes a lot. I talk to friends who are in the industry. I catch up with them. I check their mental health all the time. I hear the gripes and the grievances, and I hear about the accomplishments and the things. I know what's coming down the pipe and what's not. And sometimes I just have to check myself and remember what I'm allowed to say and what I'm actually allowed and not allowed. So I just got to check that sometimes. Who wins between Ghost Jason and Michael Myers? Ghost Jason. It's going to be a quick death. What about a new Toxic Avenger movie or Pumpkinhead? They're making a new Toxic Avenger movie. Pumpkinhead would be interesting. Pumpkinhead would be very interesting. I would like to see that remade if somebody really gets that. Let's see. Oh, thanks, Case. Let me see. Will Tom Matthews be in more movies? There's a pretty good chance of that. Yeah, Tom and I have a really good working relationship, and I always try to think of roles for different people all the time. So there's definitely some roles in upcoming films that I think that Tom would definitely be able to fit. I do. I think we need a new Pumpkinhead too. Again, I don't know if I'm the guy to do it. I remember Blood Wings more than anything, but I just always remember being confused by Pumpkinhead. Like, what is the actual origin here, and why does he look that way, and why is he so whatever? But anyway, maybe if I go back and give him another chance, it would be something there. That has made a sequel in 09. What would you like to have seen? Everything better. No, if they made a sequel to 09, I would like them to slow the movie down. I feel like 2009 rushes through itself. It tries to do too many things, tries to introduce too much. I just think you need a simple story of survival. I think they could have used a lot of those elements if they would have simplified that costume a little bit too. I think that would have been nice. I just think that there were a lot of decisions made in 2009 that really just brought it into a place that made me not love it. But that's for another time and place. Yeah. So yeah, I think an hour in, which is probably a record for me, not just like shutting up and talking. My boys say hi, Vin. What's up? What's up, kids? How many do you have now? 50? No, this is great. Ever thought about recasting Shelley? I mean, you guys saw him, right? You guys saw Shelley in Never Hike Alone 2. He shows up as Mayor Paul Owen, which I hope that was a good surprise for Paul, who was a backer, who thought that I was playing the mayor. Gotcha. Which was pretty cool. That was actually quite a struggle to get him onto the film because we had to go through the SAG interim process during the strike. and SAG was tough to work with. So we got through finally, but it was like 2.5 weeks before the film came out. We shot that, maybe even less. So kudos again to my post team for being so on top of everything. Let me see. What else do we got here? I want to make sure. I hear in one of your interviews you want to do a werewolf film. Would you want to tackle practical or CGI? It would have to be a blend. In fact, yeah, I am working on a werewolf film. I guess I could say that because it's my own project, but it's the new script I'm writing. And I would say it's a blend. There's going to be open field shots where there's a werewolf running through the field. That's going to look really goofy with somebody in a costume. It's going to need CGI punch ups anyway, so you might as well have CG there. But for close ups, for things in there, you definitely want that like interaction. You want to be able to do some stuff. But I do have friends in the VFX industry who are very good at what they do. And this isn't one of your wild run and gun werewolf movies where there's 50 werewolves running around. You know what I mean? There's only really one central werewolf. And it is a survival tale. So it's, I think it just depends. I would love, obviously I always want practical as much as I can, but I'm very confident in what we can do in post with some of the people that I know. Would you ever do a Friday the 13th in the desert or the jungle? What would bring Jason to the desert? What would bring Jason to the jungle? These are concepts that ask, I would say those are concepts you could explore in a Jason X series because you can go anywhere in the holodeck. But I also think that Jason X is sort of more mobile than the original Jason was. You could get around a new Earth in a way. There's new places to go. So who knows where he ends up, wild terrain, stuff like that. But, hopefully one day we get to do anthology series of Jason stuff, which I think would be fun to just throw ideas like that at the wall and just say, hey, here's a group of creative people. All right, Jason in the jungle, go. And that's what happens. And maybe what you do is you rewrite Friday the 13th in Thailand. You don't do it at Camp Crystal Lake. You do it at a young boys camp or a young camp in Thailand. You have, Thai people that are all the characters, and you have a Thai Jason. In the desert, you have an Egyptian Jason. You come up with like almost like its own version. You know what I mean? I'll tell you one thing that I've been working on, sort of an idea. I've been working on trying to get concepts for the Headless Horseman. Kind of inspired by Jason at the end of Never Hike Alone, but saying like he's a revenant, he comes back, he doesn't have a head, but there's multiple versions of the Headless Horseman that have been told in different parts of history. And depending on where you are, the story changes. The name of the Headless Horseman changes. And so I think that like you could probably do that with Jason if you take it to different cultures and kind of apply it that way. Like, what does a samurai Jason look like? That would be kind of cool. What does an old, ancient China Jason look like? What is that? Do you do that in animated? Do you make that an animated, film? You make it an anime? So there's lots of different avenues. And these are one of the things I always wanted to explore. Something I actually pitched to WB in, I think 2018, 2019. I went in and I pitched an animated series that would have been that would have been, hey, we're going to come up with 8 episodes a year. We were going to take Never Hike Alone into animation and do the full idea in animation. But the second lawsuit, the appeal is what killed that pitch. But it was one of the greatest pitches I ever made. I still stand by that. I got somebody at WB to say, if they ever do a Friday the 13th series, they really should hire you because you know it very well. I was like, thanks. So it's, some pretty cool stuff out there. Some ideas that maybe will get made one day, maybe not. Let me see. Scroll. Jason versus Werewolf. We did have that idea, but we're tabling that one for now. The new Reanimator film. I believe they're doing that as an official. Since Camp Crystal Lake is a star place, but never move out and go to another camp, claim home, where would he go? If he ever got pushed out of Crystal Lake, I think he would just kind of be in the forest area. Who knows? Maybe we do a road movie with Jason. That'd be pretty fun. A Jason X prequel to see how he got captured. That would be pretty cool. No, Joe. No. Have I ever used Unreal Engine for filmmaking? I haven't, but our director of Pathosis, Austin Boning, does. He's a 3D previs artist. He designs camera work for some of the big movies. And like some of the biggest movies you've seen out there. He worked on Avatar. He's worked on, Doctor Strange and Godzilla. He worked on Godzilla King of the Monsters. He designed a lot of like it's crazy. He's great, but he works in Unreal Engine to create a lot of that stuff. And I saw some of the stuff he was working on for a new movie. Very impressive. But we would use Unreal Engine to probably do previs and storyboards more than I would do to actually make a movie into it. I don't know if the animation's quite there yet, but I do know there's some promising leads on that. Um, have you ever seen Sleepaway Camp or The Burning? I've seen both of those. I've met Felissa Rose. The Burning is probably my favorite. If I was going to remake another slasher, it would be The Burning. The Burning is dope. Great movie. It's almost like a better made Friday the 13th. It just never blew up because Cropsy is not as cool or intimidating as Jason. And that's the key. The Burning has a better story. It's a better constructed plot. It's like there's lots of great things about it. It has Tom Savini effects, but there's something about Jason. And that's why I don't want to just throw my hat into the ring of making a new slasher because for me, it's always been Jason. I can't, like, even as myself, I'm like, I just want Jason, you know? So that, do I ever see the Jason versus Leatherface comics? Yes, I actually used to own them, and I sent them to a friend as a birthday gift, Michael Lombardo, um, because I thought that he would take good care of them. The Burning was so good. Yes. Do slashes exist in the Never Hike Alone universe? Yes. I mean, we've said, I don't know explicitly, but we definitely have said that the Dylan's New Nightmare and Never Hike Alone universes are shared. So Freddy, the entity, exists in the world of Ghost Jason, who is real in that world. So there's definitely some cool stuff there. We've talked about that crossover maybe happening one day. I'll let Cecil figure that out. It's going to be a lot of work and a lot of money to make happen right. But there's some good things on the horizon for Dylan's New Nightmare that I'm excited about. So hopefully those things come to fruition. We have a lot of talks to have over the year. We got to figure out how we're going to continue the project, if we are going to continue it, if the money's going to be there. But we'll see. Government clones Jason and sends him to kill the real Jason. Who would win? OG Jason wins every time. It reminds me of the Neon Fear fan film that's going on right now. I know Brandon B Spaz is always posting about it. All the updates on them. I mean, there's enough masks for the film, so hopefully they got enough cameras for all those masks. Just kidding. I'm looking forward to it. It looks like a wild ride. I don't know. That's all I can say. It looks like a wild ride. It looks so fun. How do you support us? Well, obviously, anytime you want to make a super chat here, that's always a great way to support the channel. We do have the Indiegogo going, so if you want to support the Indiegogo, that is a great way to support us. You can also send us stuff through PayPal, things like that. If you ever want to just donate to a campaign or donate to a project, every time we run something, we're going to run a crowdfunding campaign until somebody starts paying us to do this stuff. That's what we're going to do. That's the other reason why I'm running these streams. I'm hoping that we can get enough revenue through this YouTube channel to start funding some projects. And I think if we check in and, we have some guests on and we talk about some stuff, I know there's plenty of people I can probably bring out here, that eventually we can get enough people to support this channel, get this thing over 100,000 subs, maybe up even higher than that. And when we start to create more regular content, if we're bringing this every week and we can turn this into a show, this may be able to supplement a little bit of the income it is to create some stuff. And a lot of different ways that it works could be that this could be the money that I raise with this channel to do all the pre-production sort of like, hey, I need someone to go build me a poster, or I need someone to do some concept art, or I'd like to get this made or that made. Well, this allows me to raise some money, go out, get some stuff made. And that's what I will build the crowdfunding campaigns with. And then we'll launch stuff from there. And then those, we're going to run ads on those films because we actually own that material. And then we should see the channel be able to make up for some of itself based on the stuff we do with the crowdfunding. Combined with that, we may be able to just have our own TV studio here, which would be really, really cool. Thank you, Allie. I really, really appreciate that. I'll take it. Tommy is your favorite horror protagonist. Yeah. Tommy Jarvis, definitely. Tom McLeod's right there behind him. Since working with legacy actors, is there one or more that you are accessible that you are really wanting to work with on future projects? Oh man, I feel like, I've been working with, There'll be people. I mean, there's been people from my career that I really, really want to work with again. I spent some good time with like Luke Wilson. I want to work with him on a project because we almost worked on a project together when I worked in animation. Well, actually, I mean, we did. We worked on Rock Dog together and we worked on Turkeys together. But we were supposed to make a movie called Juarez 9 back in 2012 or 13, and that would have been a fun project. It was a baseball movie. Luke Wilson wrote it, was directing it, it was starring in it. I had a cameo, which was going to be fun. This was way before the Never Hike Alone days, that's for sure. But I would love to work again with Luke one day. There's a couple of people I'd like to kind of get out there, and I got to reach out to. As far as like alumni goes, I mean, everyone's really just a phone call away. And I've worked with a lot of different people. And I just want to continue working with that family that have just been continue growing. And, as other opportunities come up, I think we'll see more, people popping up here and there, which I think will be really, really fun. So I'm working on, I'm helping him get a 2009 prequel going, which I think will be rad. Which is, I'm going to say like, hey, for the people who love 2009, Jordan, we're going to work on some stuff that maybe say like, this is how maybe 2009 could have been even radder if they would have done stuff like this. If Jason leaves his home, aka Camp Crystal Lake, to go somewhere else, does he take his mother's head since he loves her? In the time when his mother's head wasn't damaged, yes. Now that it's destroyed, he would just go elsewhere. Jason Cenobites. Well, that'd be something. Well, we'll put that in the anthology series. King, how do I play? Send me an email, wompstompfilms@gmail.com. Give me a link. Where do I download it? I'm on Mac. I don't have a PC. I don't have Steam, or whatever. I'm an old man. Hook it up, man. I want to play. I would love to play. I would love to get back on Friday the 13th, the game. Are the servers shut down? Oh God, what a loss that was. I used to love getting on that game and just playing with people on the weekend. It was so much fun. I do miss those days. All right. I said I was going to sign off like 15 minutes ago, and I'm still here. But anyway, thank you for hanging out this week. Thanks for welcoming me back. This has been really cool. I mean, to hang on to about 50 people, between 45 and 15 people for an hour is pretty rad, just coming back. So hopefully this grows. Think about questions for next week. Obviously, you can hit me up on Instagram. You can hit me up on Twitter, on Facebook, an email at wompstompfilms@gmail.com. I got you, Nightmare. I'll get you. And so all that stuff, if you want to see stuff for future weeks, I'll have stuff for each, updates on original projects, updates on stuff. Remember, submit your short films to the New Bedford Film Festival. Check out the stuff with Bath Bomb. Keep an eye out for Never Hike Alone 2 updates and Never Hike Alone updates. And Nightmare, the actor who plays Kyle, his name is Andrew Lady. In fact, the last Ghost Live I did, I believe, was with Andrew almost 2 years ago. So go out and check that interview. We hung out together. Andrew Lady I've known since the early 20-teens. We worked on a film called Rock Dog together, and we've been friends ever since. But that is who does that. Oh, Dapple. Is that Ryan? Yeah, it is. Look at him. Look at him in his little, where is he? His Mexican board. Look at him. You're so handsome, buddy. Hey, everybody. Round of applause for Ryan Perez Dapple, the composer for Never Hike Alone 1, 2, Never Hike in the Snow, Pathosis, Dylan's New Nightmare in the chat right now. Helping us get the Never Hike Alone series up on Spotify, which will be a cool update to have soon. I still have to figure out, I still owe him some phone calls and some text. Hopefully we'll have Never Hike Alone 2 on vinyl soon, along with Never Hike in the Snow. That's in the process. Lots of cool things. Just going to take it one thing at a time. Let's see. Who else do I have here before I go? Yeah, I think that's it. All right, everybody. It has been a pleasure. Thank you for hanging out with me in my room under the stairs. This is literally a room under the stairs. This is the room I used to go into when I was a kid and watch horror movies. It was like this empty space that was under a staircase like Harry Potter, but it's got an even more intricate sort of like entrance. Like, I don't even know if I can... No, you can't really see. See? That's like a little TV spot, and there's a hole you crawl into to get over here. It's pretty rad. But I'm going to build this into a podcast space. Oh, that's what I was going to say before I go. Maybe one of these days, what we can do with this channel for now is that if people are supporting this stream, And people are, if Meta is sending me some money after this, from you guys donating, or if you guys want to donate, I would like to save up and get some like decent lights and a better microphone, maybe be able to afford a higher speed internet so we can stream even faster and do 1080p, add different cameras and kind of add different aspects. I'm starting to build out the stream here a little bit, and I just want to keep growing it. I want to give you guys better and better content each week and eventually get up to like that Dave McRae level, top notch HD video, studio mic, lights everywhere. There's empty walls behind me. We got to fill it up. Maybe I fill it up with your artwork. Maybe I fill it up with cool things you guys send here. I got a lot of fan art that people send in, so I might as well put that up behind me. But this is a cool spot. I like to hang under here and smoke weed and watch movies sometimes. Maybe you guys can hang out here to do this. I know that Joe Bob is either on Fridays at 9 p.m. he starts, so maybe I'll just appoint myself his lead in. We can all just hang out before Joe Bob starts for the weekend, and then we can follow up and talk about the previous films from that week. Stuff like that. Whatever you guys want to do, we're going to be organic with this. I'll always open up with updates, and then we'll finish with questions, and then we'll just talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Can you try to get Jarvis and his girlfriend, the sheriff's daughter, you reunite? I'll tell you what, next week on the Ghost Files, I will do a pitch of the original Never Hike Alone. The original Never Hike Alone 2 pitch that I pitched to Tom Matthews and Vinny Guastafaro to originally get them onto the project, that had the idea of going to get Jennifer Cook, and we wanted to pitch this to studios. So this was a pitch that I was making to studios at the time, very few. Thank you, Dave. Davey Deathray, checking in. What's up, man? He's running. I need to run more. It's been too cold, even though my buddy Ned runs like no matter what. I'm trying to get out there and run as much as I can, but I'm East Coast. Oh, hey, what's up, dude? I think I covered that before, but yeah. So what was I saying? Yeah. Anyway, let's grow this thing. Let's get it all up there. But next week, I'll do a pitch. I'll do the pitch for the original Never Hike Alone 2. I think that will be pretty cool, and I will, maybe pitch some other ideas that were supposed to be in Never Hike Alone 2 that didn't make it in. Yeah, we'll do maybe like all the Lost Never Hike Alone tapes next week. That'll be pretty cool. And I do not live in Canada. I live in Massachusetts, which is kind of close. But there. So everybody, good night. I hope you all have a great weekend. And until next time, see you on the trails.